Hello everybody, this is FC7, and today I'm going to be counting down what I believe are the most obscure zones in the game. They're zones that, for whatever reason, are always underpopulated, and even when they were current content, people really never visited them. So if you are interested in keeping a bunch of lonely mobs company, I suggest visiting these zones. At number 10, we have the Barren Coast. This zone was released during the Buried Sea expansion. It's for around levels 50 to 70, and it's as good as its name. It's always barren. Number 9 is actually the only recent zone on the list, and that is Argon Hiz. So in my opinion, there are multiple reasons why this zone is obscure. To start out with, it was released under Call of the Forsaken content, and the way that they introduced content for this expansion was a little bit strange, because they separated it into 4 parts. You had the main release, and then you had the Tower of Rot, then you had some spells and AAs, and finally you had Argon Hiz released, and it was released in July 2014. Which leads me into the second reason I believe this zone is obscure, because it was released so close to the Darkened Sea. The Darkened Sea was released in August, so it was released like a month after Argon Hiz, and everybody rushed to go to the new expansion and left Call of the Forsaken behind. My last point with Argon Hiz is this. Most people during this time period were getting experience using the Gribbles tasks, all 3 of them. Now the 3 tasks offered by Gribbles were very undertuned and very easy. On the other hand, Argon Hiz was very overtuned from what I remember. On to number 8, the Crypt of Dalnir. This is a Coon Arc zone that is for the level 25 to 35 level range. When doing research, I had to recall if I had ever been there, and I do remember being there when I was trying to complete one of the steps in the Necromancer Skullcap. It's a very obscure zone. Even the entrance is hard to find because it's in another obscure zone that is not going to make the list, but it's in Worslick Woods. Even that's out of the way. This almost feels like a zone that they could have left out of the expansion. It seems a little redundant and unnecessary. It almost seems like something that could have been cut out of Coon Arc entirely and nobody would have missed it. Okay, number 7 is the Gorge of King Orb, also known as Beholder's Maze. In my opinion, it's the most Everquesty zone in the game, and is charming in its simplicity. It's really a product of its time period. It almost reminds me of the old Doom maps, where you were surrounded on all sides by just these huge walls. Like I said, it's a very charming zone that I recommend everybody visit at least once. Number 6, Forgotten Halls. Forgotten Halls has a very unique history. It's one of the few places where you can go with a lower level character and solo one mob at a time without worrying about social aggro. Because there's a room of rats and a room of bats. You're able to pull one mob at a time, not have to worry about social aggro at all. It's a good place just to park your tune and solo at your own pace. If you're busy in real life, you can just not worry about aggro at all and just solo one at a time. The good thing about it as well is that it's an instance zone, so you can just be by yourself in your own instance zone. You don't have to have 6 players, you can just request it by yourself, which is kind of unique, especially for that time period. Number 5 is Lair of the Fallen. This is a zone that you can only get to in 2 separate ways. The first way is to use Loyalty Merchant. The second way was to use the Legends of Norath. That's a card game, but it's not around anymore. I definitely recommend using the Loyalty Merchant in Plane of Knowledge. You have to buy an item called the Forgotten Crypt Key using loyalty points. Then you get a shared task called Lair of the Risen. I'm sure this is a zone that very few people know about, but it's incredibly easy to get to. Zoning into Lair of the Fallen will also get you the Dragon Crypt Traveler achievement if you're into achievement hunting, or if you're trying to work on your Journeyman's Compass. Okay, the next obscure zone is Shadow Rest, and you can get there by talking to this NPC in Plane of Knowledge. This zone is kind of neat because back in the day, if you lost your corpse, you couldn't get it back if it rotted. So what SOE did was create this zone for calling your corpse if it had rotted and you lost all your stuff. So it's not active anymore, but they left the zone in the game. So originally you would talk to this guy and you would ask him to summon all your corpses. At least I think that's what you used to do. I haven't used this zone forever. I think maybe this zone was created before they created the guild lobby. So not a lot of people know about it, and it's a very unknown zone. My next pick is Takish His. And this zone was popular back when Prophecy of Ro was released. I remember coming here. I think every class needed to come to this zone to farm their aura, back when auras were new. Some classes had traps. I think my class had a trap, so we had to do progression here. People kind of did all their progression, and this zone pretty much just became abandoned. Okay, for my number 2 pick, I am picking the Caverns of Exile, also known as Soul Sea. This zone is connected to Solusk A. I honestly never knew about it until last year. Last year I was working on evolving my Journeyman's Compass, and the Journeyman's Compass is an item that increases your run speed the more zones you go to in the game. So if you visit all the zones in the game, you get a run speed increase. So I was going for that, and while researching the zones that I was missing, I realized that this zone existed. It came very close to becoming my number 1 pick, because I've been playing the game 16 years now, and it's very rare for me to miss a zone, and this is one I missed. Okay, my number 1 pick for most obscure zone is Moz Latias. And I think if you ask anybody who's played the game a while what the most obscure zone is, they would probably choose this one. I know that the Shadows of Luckland is my favorite expansion ever, and I don't quite understand their choice for including this zone. As you can see, it's just a bunch of hills and rocks and valleys, and mobs scared it all throughout the zone. It's like a 4-walled zone too. It's like a huge box. So I can't understand the perfection that was Shadows of Luckland having a zone like this in it. The only thing I can speculate is that I know they were thinking of adding an actual mob named Luckland, a raid mob named Luckland, into a zone, but they never had time to finish it. So I'm wondering if maybe this zone was meant to be some kind of connecting zone, or somehow involved in that raid that was cut. But those are just rumors that I've gathered over the years. Nothing official. But like anything that involves perfection, there always has to be some kind of imperfection to it. So Shaquille O'Neal was a perfect basketball player, a perfect center, but he couldn't shoot free throws. So my favorite expansion, Shadows of Luckland, it's a perfect expansion, but it has this zone in it. Alright, well, that's about it for this video. Just a few things in parting. I recently purchased a domain called everquestmemories.com. I hope to build on that in the future and create an awesome website with EverQuest memories in it. So I'll be working on that in the future. Keep an eye out for that. Visit the site if you want to. Right now I'm just doing some blog work, but there is some EverQuest related stuff there. So I think that's about it. Until my next video, thanks for watching, everybody.